Going? All right.
Let's go.
All righty. We are live on YouTube. I just want to make sure
Check.
our Twitter crowd, we are live there too.
Check 1, 2, check.
All right, let's see what we got. 7.
So
Yeah, it should be going. All right. We are live for this week in crowdfunding.
what's up, everyone?
Yeah, it's a good week out there. How have you been, Connor? Doing good?
I've been good. Yeah. So last week was Thanksgiving. Caught the tail end of the Macy's Day Parade, and then got to walk through Central Park, and the vibes were immaculate. So that was nice.
Oh yeah.
How about you? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Food, family, football, and yeah, it was great. Yeah, it's all the essentials, man. Like, it was good. I was in the city yesterday. It feels like it was flurrying a little bit when I was walking around. Yeah. It's like Christmas time in New York. We were just talking about how cold it is. You can feel it through your skin. It's the wind, but
yeah,
that's not going to stop us from shooting another This Week in Crowdfunding. So we were talking before, not a lot of information coming out, but there was one pretty big story that kind of has dominated the news this week, and that's Republic Note. I first stumbled upon this from our pal Kevin Fulmer of Crowdscale, his weekly newsletter. He was writing about Republic Notes. So let me just give everybody a little rundown on what Republic Notes is. It's basically that I need to put on my glasses because I can't see. I'm supposed to do my notes. I can't see. So basically what it is it's a blockchain-based approach to monetizing their revenue. That was a horrible explanation, but let me give it another try. They're taking a token, so like a Bitcoin, and they're making their own token. And basically the performance of Republic itself, the platform, the token will basically track the performance. So if Republic continues to have more companies raise on the platform, they make revenue from that, right? Because they make revenue from a portion of every raise. Also, that has the potential to increase because as a company, from what I can take from it, as a company's revenue increases and as their valuation increases, I should say, Republic will also get a portion of that somehow because I think they take a little bit of equity in the company as well. That's what I took from it.
So Republic Notes is a separate company that basically reflects how Republic does and operates as a company.
Right, yeah. The way I take it is Republic Notes is a token that tracks the performance of Republic.
So it's kind of like the BlackRock released the Bitcoin ETF. You could associate it very similar to that, except instead of it being
idea.
Bitcoin and the ETF, it's Republic and the Republic Notes. That's interesting. Yeah. I think I like the idea, and it makes it more exciting too because as the industry is going to grow, we talk about this week in, week out. The industry is going to grow. We keep seeing more and more positive signs, more and more momentum, and so you would then assume that the Republic Notes are also going to grow. I guess my question is, does the Republic Notes have any form of utility behind them?
No, I think it's more, well, like, I don't think you can buy anything with the Republic Note, I would say, but like, let me read from Kevin's article because I think he explains it very well in this couple paragraphs. So, and you can subscribe to Kevin's newsletter. Go to @CrowdScale1 on Twitter. Yeah, on X. Republic has created a profit sharing token, of which there are 800 million in total supply. The notes distribute profit from two different sources. Republic takes 2% equity of the total amount raised for all startups that list on the platform. Startup X raises $1 million. Republic takes 20 grand. Makes sense. Should that startup have an exit event, Republic's investment is converted into cash and added to the Republic Note dividend pool. If startup X sees a 10x return, that 20K would convert into 200,000 being added to the dividend pool.
And then it would get paid out to the shareholders.
Yes. Yes. Republic Capital, their venture arm, also contributes to the pool. They invest on a larger scale and have funneled $650 million into startups. However, a much smaller portion of this makes its way into the dividend pool. Of the investment profits, only 2.5% gets added to the pool. Okay, so it's basically how well the companies on the platform do and the volume of Republic's offerings. There's this dividend pool that then goes into Republic notes and then is paid out to Republic note holders. So it's almost like a stock. It treats that way. You're almost like a pseudo LP.
Yep. And the interesting, what I like is that the interests with the startups are aligned with the interests of Republic, which are aligned with the interests of the investors or the buyers of Republic notes. As in, you want the startups to IPO, to go public, to have an exit. The startups want that. Republic wants that. So all the interests are aligned so that everyone benefits from it when it happens. So yeah, I think that's really exciting, and I think now is kind of the perfect time because we talked about it last week. This wave of exits, it's coming.
Right.
I mean, we saw like 66 billion is trapped in private companies right now. So it's only a matter of time before that 66 billion kind of those companies then end up having, exit strategy, exit opportunities, IPO, you name it. But who knows? Maybe the IPO market's going to get hot with Shein.
Yeah, that fast fashion company. Yeah, sidebar. We were talking about that a couple of days ago. They're going to IPO. It seems in May. So maybe the IPO market's getting going a little bit. That'd be nice. So let me ask you just plain and simple. Do you think you would consider buying a Republic note?
No, because I'd rather just invest in the startups.
Interesting. I think that's a good perspective.
Right. I would take the same thing with the Bitcoin ETF or just investing in Bitcoin. I would rather just invest in Bitcoin than the Bitcoin ETF if we were to take the same analogy. So I think the Republic note, it mitigates a lot of the risk, but as a result, it limits the upside.
Yeah, there's
if you want maybe a safe, but it could go back to what we were talking about structuring a portfolio, and maybe you want to invest in this industry, but you can't invest something as risky with these institutions. So maybe they have to come up with an alternative investment that's less risky, but they can still invest in this industry.
I actually kind of take a little bit of a different viewpoint on it. I kind of look at it as you're investing in every company on Republic. I think
like that.
Every company on the platform you're basically investing in, which you're basically, it's almost like passively investing in venture capital. I could have this whole model in my head wrong, but I'm seeing it as, okay, Republic already takes equity in these startups. So you're going to have, through a couple of different, steps, equity, and if you own a Republic note, equity in the startups on Republic, right? Because the dividend pool, you are then benefiting from one of those valuations increasing, doubling, tripling, 100xing. Now, I don't think it's a perfect marriage of you're investing in every startup. There's obviously, if you own a Republic note, you're not going to get the returns you would if you invested in the company directly.
Right. It's like being an LP for a VC fund.
Yeah, it's like being. I almost think of it, you're like being an LP of the LP. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. It's almost like you're being an LP, but I don't think, I feel like LPs get more of a direct benefit. Okay. I feel like there's a little bit more dilution here. I see both sides of it. I could see it being a huge hit, and I could be wrong that it's actually just like being an LP. But I could also see that it doesn't go very well, and people are like, why did I buy this? I think it's cool.
They got 1,500 followers on X right now. I think
it's a really good idea, and they have Republic. I mean, we always talk about WeFunder and Start Engine. They're killing it at Republic. So I'm interested to see how it how it ends up playing out.
Republic sponsored a lot of the New York Tech Week events. Like a lot of the New
Really,
York Tech Week, yeah, Republic
they're
sponsored.
very active, like advertising and marketing wise, which I think is great. And like, I will say, like Republic's what a UI user
Yep,
interface,
yep,
like it's very like pleasant to use.
yeah. It's
Um,
appealing. You enjoy
yeah,
being on the
it's an
site and just
appealing
scrolling
platform.
through.
Like the colors are nice, so
Yeah,
it's like, but yeah. I mean, myself, would I buy a Republic Note? I don't know. There seems to be a lot of demand out there, so who knows? But um, I'm interested to see how this one plays out. I'm interested to see if people are like if these because it's all going to depend on the startup, right? Because if the
yes.
Republic Note, like if a company in Republic, 1,000 X's and goes public, like of course the Republic Note's going to do really well. Um, so I don't know. We'll see.
So I think here's the interesting thing, right? With the Republic Note, Republic has to get as many high quality startups to be a part of Republic or to raise on Republic as possible, right? Because the more high
Mhm.
quality startups, the higher likelihood that startup will succeed, which means the more basically the more valuable the Republic Note becomes.
Right.
So I think that's also really interesting too, because now Republic is really incentivized to just uh, double check and make sure that these startups are really legit, really good, have a good chance of succeeding, and basically cross all their T's and dot all their I's.
Yeah, and
So
I think also like I think it helps the companies on the platform as well because this is going to get more eyes. Like there's a lot of crossover I've found between the crypto Web3 community and the crowdfunding community. And like now that you're really taking you're really grabbing those Web3 people, that community, and you're saying come fully fledged into crowdfunding. I think that's just going to bring more awareness and more people to the industry, and more eyeballs, means more, usually means more dollars invested, means higher growth. So I also think that Republic as a platform could see more startups coming after, going to them and saying, we want to raise on your platform.
that makes sense. I can see that. It's exciting times.
Yeah,
So
same here.
and then speaking about eyeballs, on the I think November 23rd was crowdfunding day. So there was a conference in
Yes,
Italy,
yes.
and the equity crowdfunding lenders and investors, about 200 of them, got together, had a nice conversation, a lot of one-on-ones, and I find that very exciting because I think the platform owners and then the investors need to talk to one another, and then also the founders too. So there's three different parties. They all need to
Mhm.
communicate with one another because at the end of the day, they're on different sides, but they're all playing for the same team, which is the
Yeah,
industry. And it's how can
yeah.
we come
No,
together, keep moving forward?
it was great to see. I mean, to get all the top, most of the top people in the room together, some of the top people in the room together, is always a good thing. It means that there's something to talk about, and there's a lot to talk about with crowdfunding right now. Um, I just I'm every time I like sit down and think about crowdfunding, there's so many incredible implications and ways that it can affect the business world. And I think we're just starting to scratch the surface, with how big it can be.
Mhm.
And I think conferences like this, make you also reflect and say, okay, like we're not the only ones thinking this. Like there are people out there that are having these conversations, that are making these decisions. Um, you know, we're not crazy almost.
Yeah, once again, it was another crowdfunding story in Europe. And now with
Yeah,
the new regulations that we were talking about, that makes it easier for
big.
startups to now raise. Maybe Europe, that's going to be kind of the new market, the go-to market. Like a lot of crowdfunding is going to start coming up, stemming from Europe. It
Yeah.
seems like a lot of people in Europe like going that route, and they understand turning customers into investors into advocates. So
Here's a thought, okay, on the Europe thing. I don't know much about Europe's venture market, but I doubt that it is as big as the US's. I
it's
could be
not.
wrong. I could be wrong. Which means that I think that there will be more high quality companies that turn to crowdfunding. because there are just less options. I mean, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, well, so if you're a founder, you want to live in what, Silicon Valley, probably New York, like those are the two
Yeah.
hubs, right? If you're a VC, you want to live in those areas too, just because the likelihood of bumping into someone increases significantly compared to let's just say Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know why I'm making fun of Omaha, Nebraska, but I am.
Yeah.
And so it's, what's the likelihood, right, that you're gonna run into the right person and have that network? So I know if that's the case, and it's hard for VCs to operate in Europe, which means they're probably going to be trying to operate in Silicon Valley and then New York, then that means that the people that do want to have startups and do want to raise money, they're going to have to kind of be forced to go the crowdfunding route just out of necessity.
Right. Because they just aren't a part of the whole VC ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great way to end that story. Great point. And as we wrap up this week in crowdfunding, me and Connor wanted to make sure we gave a rest in peace to Charlie Munger, somebody who I sent you a clip on Twitter yesterday that I had never seen before. It's like his 24 things about misjudgment. It's like astoundingly interesting and super like it just makes you think about so many different things. He's super wise, a lot of wisdom and a legend in the investor world. So a rest in peace to him and 99 years old. I mean, if we could all live to be that long, right?
Gonna drink a lot of Coke and eat a lot of ketchup for him.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that does it for this week in crowdfunding. We will see you next week with a very, very, very special edition of This Week in Crowdfunding. Won't get into too many details, but it is going to be the biggest This Week in Crowdfunding yet, with some awesome insights. I don't want to bury the lead, but I'll leave it at that.
Yep. And then we just released an interview Monday with Jean from Lovebox. Great interview. And then we have another one coming out this Monday with Jeremy from Vocal. So
yes,
check those
Jeremy
out.
Frommer from Frommer's his last name, right?
Yep.
From the publicly traded Vocal, whose subsidiary just raised a crowdfunding round. So Connor, another solo episode for Connor. It caught me at a busy time, but no, he killed it. So look forward to that one coming out, and make sure you watch that. Like, subscribe, comment, what you guys always do. And thank you for supporting us. And we will see you next time. So.
Bye-bye.